All right, it's time for another episode of Nick's Nerd Network, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 3 review of Supermodel. Get it? This is Nick's Nerd Network, and I'm Nick.
We're not.
All right, so this is the 5th episode of the season, and it was a pretty exciting episode. So let's talk a little bit about the challenge so far. So the challenge was Supermodel. So they had to design a soup can that represents themselves and their brand. And then they also had to do a disco type look where they come in on a horse and represent their best disco look. So what did you guys think of the challenge in general?
I thought it was more challenging because they did have to make it from scratch. It was different. I mean, I've never seen anything like that done in any of the seasons, so it was good to kind of see them have to think outside the box and design a soup can, and then have to go and design a disco look. But I mean, I liked it. It was very entertaining.
What about you, Elias?
Yeah, I liked it too. It was, I mean, you got to see like their like ideas come out on like the can, like what they thought of themselves, and then the Studio 54 is always fun.
I really wish that milk could have been present for this because, you know, canned milk, it would have been...
That would have been fun.
It would have been so fitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because canned milk's a thing. Huh?
Oh, it is.
All right, so let's go ahead and start going through the queens. We'll talk about their canned look first, and then we'll talk about their disco look. So let's talk about Aja first. I would say my first thoughts is I agree with the judges where it didn't read as soup. But honestly, when I saw it, it made me think of like a pint of ice cream. So, one thing I would say about the challenge is it was very specific with soup. I wouldn't have minded if it was kind of like any sort of canned type of product.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a cool look. But yeah, it wasn't soup. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like candy or ice cream. I mean, nothing that you would, eat a bowl of if you were not feeling well or, if you were sick. But
yeah.
I mean, she executed it nicely. She looked very pretty. It was very well done. So, I mean, she did what she could with what she had, and I mean, it was good.
Yeah, I would say it looked like ice cream, but it was fun the way she did it. But yeah, I would have thought, ooh, I want that pint of ice cream, not soup.
It did. It looked good.
Yes.
It just wasn't soup.
Yeah.
So I won't read it for that. I mean, it would have been better if it was ice cream. Bendela could have been Bendela and Jerry's ice cream. Huh?
That's true.
I'm on it today. All right. So let's talk about her disco look. What did you guys think about her disco look?
I thought she looked very, very pretty. I mean, her hair, makeup, even what she was wearing, it didn't necessarily read as like disco, but I mean, that's open to interpretation. I mean, she's very young, so she doesn't really know, like pop culture, and even Rude had told her to read up on it, and she should do some research on it for being a drag queen. But I mean, she looked very pretty with what she did, and I thought she looked great.
Yeah, I feel like it was a mix of decades. She did a little bit. Her hair was a little bit 60s. She looked a little bit 70s. It was in Studio 54 per se, but I mean, she looked really good.
I would say my thoughts are I thought it was a great look. I agree. It's one of the better looks I've seen her do, and I like that it was so detailed. But I agree with the judges. It wasn't what they were looking for, because when I think of disco, I think of big hair, lots of sequins, and not that there aren't different styles of doing that, but I think you kind of have to play in a little bit to what's expected, but then take your own twist on it. So I don't think there was enough of what they expected, but there was a lot of Aja in there.
Right.
So, but I think overall she did well. It just wasn't a right fit. So let's talk about Shangela. So her soup can, it made me think it was Shangeloos or Shangelos? Hallelujos, yes. So Hallelujos. It made me think of cereal more so than a can of soup.
I think it was SpaghettiOs.
Shangelos?
Yeah.
But spaghetti,
That actually would have been good.
But SpaghettiOs is not soup either.
But, I mean,
It's kind of it's closer than...
It's kind of
It's
canned,
not cereal.
it's canned pasta.
but...
Or pasta.
I thought it was a creative design. I liked it. It wasn't as eye-catching, though, I think, but I think the colors she chose didn't pop as well on camera.
Yeah. I mean, it was good because she chose a title that really like featured her catchphrase "Hallelujah." So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was really on brand for her. So she did that very well, very cleverly. But I agree with the colors weren't really popping. I mean, it just looked kind of like a plain, basic kind of like layout. So.
I just thought if Naomi Campbell's was on it this season.
Yeah.
Campbell's soup, good. All right, so I agree. I thought it was a good look, but I don't think it was quite in the soup department. What do we think of her dress?
No. No.
They put the lid on the trash before they set on the curb.
I don't even have like words. I mean, it kind of looked like Oscar the Grouch, but with gold, and with the little thing on his head, and
yeah, it definitely I get that sewing's hard. I'm learning to sew myself right now, but she really didn't embrace the challenge and what the challenge was. I mean, I get the sewing challenge doesn't necessarily mean you have to sew, but you have to have like a garment, and it was mostly just kind of things draped and taped to her. It wasn't there wasn't really like a silhouette.
Yeah.
I mean, the only silhouette was probably it was more similar to the snowman she brought with her on season 3 because she just had big giant circles stacked on top of each other.
I mean, she tried to make the outfit and then she screwed it up.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit her. So I felt like she could have come up with something better than what she did. Instead of taping or gluing records and making them glittery all over her body.
But they don't have that much time though either. I mean, time was probably running out, and she was under the gun, so she probably just did that because that's all she had time to do.
It definitely wasn't her challenge, and I like Shangela a lot.
And I don't think it's anything to she's so talented, and I love her. I've grown to love her more this season than any other. But I don't think this is her best drag, and I don't think that this showed a good well-roundedness to her. I mean, she's got the personality, but I think sometimes the creative aspect of her is not as strong as some of the other queens. All right, so let's talk about Trixie's can look. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I'll show it on the screen above. But Trixie's look, it looked very on brand for Trixie. I like that she actually put herself on the can. It made it a really cool look. It was very bright, colorful, eye-catching. I mean, I would buy that. But it did read a little bit of pancake mix to me, because she was kind of holding a pan, I believe. And I don't cook soup in a pan, but it made me think of a pancake batter.
Yeah, I think one of the comments we made was chowder of the corn or something, because she had a cornfield in the background of her picture on her can.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. I mean, she did very, very good with that.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm glad that she was recognized doing well in this challenge. So let's talk about her dress. Her dress, well, it wasn't even a dress. Her look was on point. It gave me trophy wife realness. I loved her eyes. They were painted very Mimi from Drew Carey, but somewhat Cleopatra-y. I thought it was great.
Yeah, she was more Disco Barbie. It really was. I mean, it was definitely a 70s disco pantsuit outfit.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, her outfit was.
But she made it hers.
Yeah, I mean, her outfit was very contoured to her body shape. She was showing everything that she had, her curves. I mean, her hair. She just did a very well job. I mean, it looked Studio 54 to the T. And
you know what? All Stars 2, Roxy Andrews lent Alaska her tank top, and this episode she lent Trixie her ass.
Oh yeah, she did.
It was.
That was.
It was voluptuous.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk Kennedy Davenport. So I liked her soup can. It probably read one of the most soup to me. She had the little granny cartoon on the cover, and it was very country home style. She had the little meats at the bottom lining her can. It definitely read soup to me.
What was the title of her soup? I forget.
I can't remember off the top of my head. It'll be up in the picture above.
Okay, yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't that memorable for me. I mean, she had a kind of a basic title, I want to say, but I mean, it did look good from what I remember, but I didn't remember the title of it.
I think too, she's one of the only ones that kind of tooled her face look to be themed with the can. I mean, she kind of had her granny glasses on, and she really embodied it. And then in terms of her disco dress, how did you guys think it went?
I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked how she had her hair pulled back really tight, and then her weave really kind of popping. I liked the little elongated sleeve that she had on one of her arms. I mean, she did kind of wear like a bodysuit, which Michelle clocked in the first episode. Like there were 4 bodysuits. So I mean, I was surprised that she did it again. And that wasn't a Britney reference.
Oops.
But I liked what she had brought to the runway for that look. I mean, again, it wasn't my favorite.
I think personally, like parts of it were my favorite. I liked the dress itself. I thought the hair was good separately. And I just don't think that they complemented each other well. And I don't think like the yellow on the belt, it kind of like made the belt stand out too much to where you didn't see the dress as much. But I thought the dress was really well detailed. It was really well fitted. And it looked really great. I think that maybe she just over-accessorized elsewhere that distracted from that a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree.
I feel like, I mean, she did look very disco-y. I mean, I felt like she was in the middle this week.
And I think my biggest critique for Kennedy, like all season long, has been editing. The best I've seen her is when she doesn't put so much all over, and you can appreciate what she has.
Yeah, I mean, because she has like crystals all over her face in the first couple episodes. And last week she had like a flower petal like bulging from her eye. I mean, it's nice to actually just see her face and that she's not doing too much.
She's a pretty queen.
Less is more.
All right, so next up on our list we have Bebe. So I would say that her can read more like chili. It was very like lots of reds and like browns, and it reminded me of like a smoky chili peppers kind of thing. So not really. I guess chili is closer to the soup category than some of the other queens have been.
Yeah, but I think that her soup was peanut soup.
Yeah,
but that's something from her country that they have. So
I really like Bebe, and I love that like she's one like. Honestly, she's probably one of the most diverse types of drag queens that we've had on the show so far. I mean, she's really unique where she comes from. But sometimes I really love how she works her culture into her drag.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like it's almost too much where it's hard for it to be relatable to the judges and to the fans, where either A, they're going to not appreciate it as much because they can't relate, or they're just going to kind of give her a pass of like, oh, like, you know what this is about. So we'll like trust you that.
Well, and I think too, like, I mean, a lot of the times the queens are clocked for not showing the judges who they are as a person, but I feel like Baby's constantly showing herself who she is as a person. Like, maybe she should step out of her comfort zone and be somebody different. Like, show them other sides of you, be something else, be something more, and just kind of like expand what you're showing us right now.
All right, so let's talk about Bendela Creme. Again, I'm totally unbiased in this. No, I'm kidding. I will say the soup can, I liked it a lot. I thought it was very simple. It got the point across, and she didn't put a lot on it, but the little bowl of soup, it had the kind of face and the kind of animation on it that I would expect from Bendela. Like, it read Bendela even though it wasn't a picture of Bendela.
Right.
Yeah, the can was very Bendela. The soup can, it was fun.
Yeah. I think it read soup really well, kind of like Kennedy's did. And then in terms of her dress, I was so worried when she came out.
Yeah.
There were I've been like, my anxiety has been up so high this week because I'll lay this out there. I get to meet Bendela tomorrow. I mean, we're filming on Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I get to meet Bendela. I don't know if I'll meet her, but I'll get to see her perform. And like, if I do get to talk to her or get to meet her in any way, I've been panicking, like, if she gets at home this week, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I'm going to be so nervous. I don't want to say the wrong thing and make her feel bad because she's probably going to be under a lot of stress. And so this whole episode, I see her walk out, and I'm like, no, my fears are coming true. But she landed in the middle. Let's talk about the look. Sorry, I'm going off topic.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe. I know you're nervous.
I was very scared
calm
for
down.
you then.
Yeah, her look was very... I mean, it looked disco. I mean, she got that part of it well, like, executed. But, I mean, it was just kind of like baggy in some spots and just, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't her best week.
Yeah, she was definitely in the middle, and I love her, and I always root for her. But when somebody's in the middle, they're in the middle.
Yeah. I think that one thing that bothered me, and I know I talk about Ben a lot, One thing that bothered me, and I know it's something that's kind of always in the back of the judges' minds, but it kind of bothered me that they said it out loud and they were so like open about it. When Carson said, you know, we're used to you performing at 120%, and when you come out here performing at 100, we're gonna read you. I don't have a problem with her being safe. She wasn't the best, and even though I'm a diehard fan, I can admit that. But it bothers me that they're going to look at her harder, and she could end up in the bottom someday for giving like 100% or 95%, when some of these other queens aren't hitting that level, but just because they're improving a little bit, they could end up passing Bendela and becoming the next drag superstar, or be in the Hall of Fame, and that bothers me.
Yeah, but at the same time, Carson should have not said that because she was not at 100%.
She wasn't.
She wasn't.
No.
I give her 85%. She was not at 100. So he's not. You can't base her being at 100 because she gives it normally 100 of 20%.
120.
But she was not at 100 tonight. So no, she was in the middle.
And it bothers me in the past when other queens have kind of skated by because they were giving such a minimal effort that every time they show any like glimmer of improvement, it's like, oh my God, you've come so far. Like, classic example, Pearl. In season 7, she gave 10% all season long. Up until about halfway through, they kept saying, wake up, wake up. This is your warning, this is your warning. Anyone else was thrown on the bottom every time they so much as flinched or messed up. And Pearl got a free ride halfway through the show. And then she started, she started giving 30%. Well, that's 3 times better. So obviously, Pearl needs to make it to the top 3 of the show. I don't want to get into it. I'm sure Pearl is a lovely person, competitive-wise. I didn't like her. I didn't think she deserved to go as far as she did. And that's what bothers me in those kinds of instances. And Carson, brought it up. He's like, you know what? We expect higher level of you, and if you're not performing to that high bar, we're going to let everyone else sneak under it, and you're going to trip over it.
But it's Carson's fault for saying 100% because she was not 100%.
But in their defense, though, Bendela has set that bar. Like, she has raised the bar. She's been constantly consistent, being at that 120%. Of course, they're going to say something if she does do a little bit less than what they've been giving her. I mean, look at what happened last season with Alaska, and, she killed it up until the top 5, and then she she fell short, drastically, and she then ended in the bottom. I mean, it's going to happen. Like, if you're strong throughout the competition and you do slip up, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, but the thing that worries me is Bendela doesn't have what Alaska had. Alaska killed it, but she had the safety net, which was Relaska Talks, to protect her. Bendela doesn't have that. She has a bunch of competitive queens, a bunch of talented queens. I mean, there's a lot of them there that definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But I think that if Bendela goes home at some point, I won't be mad as long as it's for a good reason. If she deserved it, yeah. Right, if she deserved it. I'm afraid there's going to be a scenario where she doesn't deserve to go home.
Well, I mean,
at the same time, she got the critique. Yeah. She was in the middle. She's fine.
She earned the critique she got tonight.
She did.
I was worried she was going to be in the bottom. It wouldn't have surprised me if she was in the bottom tonight. I love her, but I was terrified for her.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all of the different looks for tonight. All right, so let's wrap this up and talk about the conclusion of the episode. So they selected the tops and bottoms of the competition. The tops were Trixie and Bibi, and then the bottoms were Shangela and Aja. So do we agree with this?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Bibi and Trixie did very well. They deserved their wins. Aja and Shangela, Shangela definitely. Aja, comparative to Kennedy and Bendela, she was probably the worst out of those 3. So yeah, I can see her being in the bottom. I'm just sad to see her there because she's been doing pretty good throughout the competition.
I feel like if Aja would have not did like a ice cream looking soup, and she went true more to herself, and then got the outfit a little bit right, with the decades, she would have not been in the bottom because her look and the can was pretty and everything she did, but that wasn't the challenge. So
I think where most of the queens embraced the challenge and tried to, for instance, Kennedy took Kennedy and made it soup, but I felt like Aja took soup and made it Aja.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't think she embraced the challenge. She tried to make the challenge more suitable for her, and I think that's what hurt her.
Yeah.
I would say out of the two in the bottom, Aja, based on these challenges alone, the look wasn't right for the disco, and then the can wasn't right. So she kind of failed in both areas. She's still very talented. I would have said in the other bottom two person would have either been Shangela, which I agree with, or Bendela. I do think Shangela's dress was a little bit worse, and Bendela's can was a little bit better.
Yeah.
In terms of the tops, I agree. I thought they both did really great in this challenge. And I'm glad to see BB finally in the top, because as a past winner, I've been waiting for her to get in that top spot and show us why she's a winner.
And Trixie, too. I mean, she's been, you know...
It's a little refreshing not to see Bendel in the top. I'll admit it. I'm a huge fan, but it's refreshing to see her, because I kind of like the meme on the internet where it said last year's twist was Queens eliminating Queens, and then this year's twist is the top contender has to lip sync against Bendela Creme.
That's funny.
As if it doesn't even matter what she does.
Right.
So the lip sync went down. What were you guys' thoughts on the lip sync?
Trixie was a lot more kind of moving around the stage and doing her moves, but I mean, I did kind of think that she was camping it up a little bit, which, I mean, I don't see Disco being too campy, but I mean, Baby, like, she did well. My eyes kept going to Trixie because I was watching what she was doing, so.
But BB gave face, and she was lip syncing on point, and she looked like she was actually outperforming that disco song at the disco.
Yeah, my critique, I think, for Trixie is the same as what I had for Aja, where Trixie was trying to make that song Trixie.
Yeah, she wore like a country outfit instead of disco.
Right, and I hesitate saying this because I don't like to be that guy who, like, I don't want to make too many jokes at the expense of the queens, but this season, Trixie has kind of been, for me, like the fluorescent light bulb of drag, where you don't want to look directly at her, and it's kind of like this buzzing, like, background. Like, I love her looks, but like I've said in past episodes, it's so much of one
that's funny.
bright tone that you can't see the whole picture. You're lost in this, like, blur.
But that's Trixie. That's always how she's been, and I love Trixie.
Oh, I do
She's
too.
not the standard drag queen, and her makeup is outrageous and a lot, and she's kind of weird, like what she wears and all that, and I love it. I don't think I can see what she's wearing.
Yeah. I do like her. I feel like as talented and as great as her aesthetic is, it doesn't always translate well on Drag Race. I don't want to ever make it sound like I don't appreciate her. I think she's great. But back to the lip sync, I think that BB embraced the song. She conveyed the emotion of the song, even though she wasn't doing a lot. Less was more in this instance. And Trixie, it was kind of like a fish swimming upstream. She was working really hard, and she was doing a lot of great things, but it really wasn't playing into the song that well.
Right.
I agree
with that, yeah.
I agree.
If it had been a more high-energy poppy song, like, she would have nailed it, hands down. So let's talk about the elimination. They picked Aja to go home. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, based on their track records, and you know, it was first time for Shangela being in the bottom. Aja's second time?
It was second.
Yeah, it was only her second time.
So I mean, I can see if Baby chose based on their statistics, then you know, yeah, I can see her choosing Aja to go. I mean, she kept talking to Aja in the workroom. You know, she kept saying, "Oh, but you know, you're going to be successful. You've had your time," and you know, I mean, she was kind of like, it was very glim undertone to the conversation they were having. She wouldn't even let Aja talk, so you know, it kind of was obvious to me that Aja was going home.
Yeah, and the last time Aja got put in the bottom, it was really that, like, she was really middle of the road, but, like, they needed to put people in the bottom, and she didn't get harsh critiques. This time she got harsh critiques because overall she didn't do well in both parts of the challenge. And so she kind of lost it there. She had... A lot of girls have been losing it when they've gotten in the bottom. I mean, Chi-Chi was in the bottom a lot, and she still maintained her dignity, I want to say. But it's a stressful situation. You don't know how you're going to react, and it might just caught her on a bad day. But it definitely felt like she immediately embraced as though she was going home.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that they both did really well. I'm sad. I would have been sad to see either of them go. But based on... They're both on an even playing field of being in the bottom twice. Aja did worst overall this challenge.
Yeah, it wasn't her week.
So, who do we think the mystery queens are that might be coming back? Do we A, think that they are going to be eliminated queens from this All-Stars season? I forget, one of you threw out like the possibility of maybe they're not directly, maybe they're not all queens that we've seen this season.
Yeah, I said that because you never know. You never know what twist is going to be there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the queens from this season.
I'm sure it's going to be, but you never know.
Right.
So, what are your guys' theories on who?
Well, they showed 3 of them in the bonnets and the red capes, and I think from what I recognized, I think one of them is Morgan McMichaels, one of them is Aja, and one of them is Chi-Chi. Yeah, just because Morgan has like those pale, old-looking hands, and
They're very feminine.
well, whatever.
No.
Yeah. And then the middle one was Aja because I recognized her tattoos. And then the third one was Chi-Chi. Obviously, she's the darker complected one that's been eliminated so far. So that's my theory on those 3. But then again, I think that they're just showing the 3 of them. But I think that all 5 of them are going to come back in and try to claw their way back into the competition.
I want one of them to be Katya.
She had her time.
Aww. I don't know. Maybe it's like the water bottle situation, like in when they were crowning Violet, and like they called poor Katya. My other crazy guess would be Merle Ginsburg, the judge. She'll come back and take her revenge out on Michelle Visage. That would actually be really funny.
She wasn't a drag queen though.
Are we sure though? I mix her and Katya up.
I mean, I would take Michelle as a drag queen before I would take Merle as a drag queen.
I think it's going to be Rebecca Glasscock.
Who's that?
I'm joking. From season 1, top 3.
No, I think I agree with your predictions based on the looks. They kind of gave us some hints there. And maybe there's going to be more than what we're seeing. Or maybe those 3 queens aren't going to be coming back at all. Maybe they're going to play a part in the other queens we didn't see up there coming back. So who knows? I'm excited to see what happens. And the next challenge sounds exciting. I'm excited that there's a Spice Girls challenge coming out. I mean, that's like one of the draggiest girl groups that there is.
If you want to be my lover.
I bet they'll probably have 2 different versions. They'll probably have the version of the queens that are still in the competition, and then the 5 that have been eliminated perform together.
And they'll probably take the bottom 2 out of the...
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, that's all for tonight's episode. I can't wait to see you guys next week, and I will let you guys know next week how Bendela's show was. I'm really excited.
Take pictures.
I will hopefully get to meet her. All right, this is Nick's Nerd Network, and this is Nick signing off. Say bye.
Bye.
If you like this episode of Nick's Nerd Network, please like and subscribe. If you have different opinions or would like to share some of your ideas, please share these in the comment section below. Please keep it constructive and friendly. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.